Okay, so I have a bit of a mess on my hands today. Too many projects, not enough time. But luckily for you, that means this is a 2-for-1 special. In reality, this was supposed to be on one snare, but it was kind of boring. It started out with this drum, a 14x6.5 Rogers Dynasonic. It had some messed up parts on it, so I took some parts off of a Rogers SuperTen and basically just, picked the best of the best, and I'm gonna put it back on this drum. So, I mean, it's not really that exciting. But you also might remember in another old video that I got another Dynasonic. And after playing a real Dynasonic, I decided to buy one. I've been borrowing this one as well as the Tama, so that's why I have these. But I bought a real Dynasonic. It was just missing the bottom hoop as well as the snare frame. And, well, it's been sitting there ever since. So because I have all these extra parts that came off of the SuperTen, I can use them on here. And then all the extras from this drum will end up on a special project. So before I make even more of a mess, let's finish this thing off. Before I can put this together, there is a pretty big dent where this lug goes, so I have the sandbag, and I'll kind of mush it into the shape of the shell. Throw this towel on for good measure, and then we can put the shell on. And to be honest, I really don't have the right type of hammers or the right kind of tools to properly fix this dent, but instead I have these little ball punches which I can use to better pinpoint and accurately persuade these dents out. And just to be safe, I'll throw another towel on top of the shell. Actually, instead I have a little piece of leather which will work even better. Then I can use this with a hammer to beat the dent out. And now you can see that the dent is no longer there. Most of the lugs came off of this drum, but there are a couple from the SuperTen. The throw off is from the SuperTen, but the butt plate is original. The internal muffler is a combination of some parts that I had as well as some parts from the original. The hoops from this drum are not original, so I used the ones from the SuperTen, but sure enough, they were a little bit warped, so I had to use the Rim Expander 8000. And the tension rods are original too, I just cleaned them up in the ultrasonic cleaner. And before I close this thing up, I'm pretty sure this is original, but these stupid screws look stupid. Originally, I put these 20-strand wires on the drum, but it just sounded choked and dead and horrible and had no snare response. Dynasonics actually don't have snare beds because you're supposed to use their snare rail, but I'm being cheap. So I switched those out with a 30-strand set, and also those white straps look kind of lame, and now we have a snare that sounds like a snare. Now for the other Dynasonic, and you'll see why I haven't played this thing yet. I don't know how well you can see this, but the hoop is on the outside of the rim of the head. It's that bad. So originally the plan was to put all the messed up parts onto this, but like I said, I have another special project that all those parts will go onto. I got this drum for rather cheap because of the condition of it. Someone tried to clean it with steel wool probably because there's a bunch of little scratches on it. Also there's a dent in the shell, and just in general there's a bit of rust on it. So I wanted this to be like an old sleeper looking snare, something that's beat up and old looking, but still is 100% functional and sounds incredible. So for this drum, I'm just going to fix this dent. It's not 100% perfect, but like I said, I'm going for an older, beater look. And we can't forget the tension rods. Last time I used this, I had a couple questions about what liquid I use. I just use Degreaser. You can see it's kind of nasty looking because it degreasifies nasty tension rods. And also a little trick, this blue thing is a tuna can deliquifier or something. But as you can see, it has smaller holes so I don't lose the tension rods as well as the washers. These washers are getting replaced, but I might as well clean them while I'm at it. So this has been cranking away for 40 minutes, blasting away at 175. I'm gonna turn that off and let's take a look. They're definitely cleaner, and all that brown stuff is rust, which normally I would remove, but for this drum, I really don't care, and I think it adds some character. I have a bunch of old tension rod washers that just came off of a bunch of old drums. I like the brass ones, but I want to save those for that other shell. So I have some new ones that almost look too new, so let me try and age these a little bit. Paint stripper to remove the clear coat, then a quick dip in some liquid gun bluing. Give them a rinse and dry them off. This is what they used to look like, bright and shiny. Now they're old and crusty. I do have a replacement bottom hoop as well as snare frame that I've been holding on to forever. And then of course I need to replace that top hoop. I'm not really sure what this hoop came off of, but it is the thickest, most beefy triple flange hoop that I have. As far as tuning goes, I want the 6.5 to be low, thuddy, and wet. Most of my lower tune snares have like a dry thud to them, but for this one, I wanted a wet thud. For the 5-inch, I went for like a medium low sound. Typically, I tune to a medium high, but I wanted to switch it up. Also, I was trying to figure out a good track to play with a wet thuddy snare, and my buddy brought up Don't Stop Believin' by Journey, so here are these snares played on a cheesy rock track.